Does The Nun 2 live up to the expectations of the first one? Find out what we think next. Welcome, Misfits and Metalheads, to the cutting room floor. We're from the band Cut Like This. I'm Thorn Black.
I'm Rose Blood.
And don't forget to check out our music here on YouTube, Spotify, and Bandcamp. So, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about The Nun 2, now currently streaming on HBO Max, or just Max. I think they just changed the name to it. You can also rent it a couple other places, but if you have Max, then you can just watch it on there. They have it already.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about this one?
Well, The Nun 2 is the 8th installment in the Conjuring franchise, and it is produced by James Wan, and it has a lot of returning characters from the original, like Sister Irene and Maurice, and it really does a good job of connecting back to that original story, and kind of like tying up any loose ends that you were wondering about. And of course, it goes way more into the nature of the demon Volok, the nun, who I think is one of the most iconic and cool, like really just a well-designed monster. Obviously, a nun's gear is very iconic within itself because it's like that very stark black and white
face, the facial expressions, the makeup, the lighting on it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
she's scary.
Yeah, she is
scary as hell. They do a lot to really incorporate little hints of the demon Volok stalking our main characters as they're kind of going throughout the story. This one takes place about 4 years after the events of The Nun. So that's where we're at. Sister Irene is now in a convent in Italy, and Maurice is now he's in a boarding school in France. He's working kind of as a handyman or whatever. And they chilling over there. They're in two very separate places. They've gone their separate ways. Unfortunately, Sister Irene, she's just looking to chill now. She's like, I'm done. I'm done with this stuff. Like, she's like, I defeated a demon. I barely escaped. This was crazy.
I mean, I would be done too.
I would be done too. I wouldn't want to be messing with no demons.
Can I retire?
Screw that.
Is that possible?
I mean, no.
Can I retire? Is that possible?
I would not. I would not want to be in a position where I had to fight some kind of crazy supernatural thing like that. Especially when you saw how many people got killed before, And anyway, so she's pretty much done with her demon hunting days. However, the Cardinal, just when she was thought she was out, they brought her back in. And the Cardinal's like, hey, so there's been these deaths. And she's like, I'm done with demon hunting, bro. I'm done. I served my time. Leave me out of it. Leave me out of it.
I would have been saying the same thing.
However,
there gotta be somebody else, right?
However, they have strong indications that it is the demon Volok once again. Which they thought they had defeated at the end of the last film. So they're like, what the hell? And they're like, fine. So she goes, accompanied by a new sidekick. Her name is Sister Deborah, and she is kind of more of a younger, she's not as experienced, and she is still somewhat questioning certain things about her faith and everything.
I don't think it's not really her idea to become a nun, so she has some of those hesitations.
Yeah, she has a little bit of hesitation,
it was the best option available to her.
Yeah, and she wants to be there for her friend. She wants to look out for Sister Irene. She's like, you need me, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. She's like, you obviously are, you shook. You shook, and you need somebody to watch your six.
But this girl's faith isn't where it needs to be.
It's not where it needs to be to be fighting no demons.
On this adventure.
Yeah. But we'll
call it that.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, a lot of incidents are occurring. Again, I think they do a very good job of you know, obviously they have great cinematography because they got the.
I love how
Yeah.
they shot it. I think
it's shot super well.
So the shot well. It's
And the
I
little
like
hints,
the actors.
the little
I think
hints
they did a good
of
job.
yeah, the acting is top notch.
I like the lighting also really.
Really moody.
Yeah, really
moody
good
and really
lighting
atmospheric.
as well.
And
yeah,
in all
yeah.
of those spooky moments, you know, they do a very good job of setting the stage. You know, bad things are afoot. You know, and things are not as good for, you know, Maurice seems to have settled into his groove. You know, he's working in this boarding school and stuff. He's chilling and stuff. He's doing his thing. And
Or so he thinks.
and he, you know, he's befriended, you know, a student there, and you know, in the hopes of, you know, catching the eye of her hot single mom. Her name is Sophie, and her mom's name is Kate. So you know, there's a little bit of a hint of, you know, Sophie really kind of wants him to be her new daddy, I think. And he's kind of trying to look out for her and stuff like that. And in the course of that, bad things happen.
Because guess who comes a knocking?
Oh, Valak is not done with their reign of terror,
Yeah.
and is in
It's not
fine
good.
form.
Yeah.
Fine form. There's some really good spooky
There's
creepy
some
moments.
There's some really good
I enjoyed it.
visual scenes in
Yeah.
here for me. You know,
Visually, like
besides it, like I just overall think it was shot and the lighting and everything was like done really well.
Yeah.
But you know how when you finally get to like a creature, a monster, or whatever, you want it to be like a really impressive reveal, right?
oh yeah,
Oh,
oh yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It was great.
Yes.
It's great because the little hints are really well done, you know? And like, you know, it's like, it's just like there's going to be moments where you're like, what the was that? And then you're like, oh no, you know? And, you know that something really bad is coming, but when it comes, it's super bad.
Yeah.
It's super bad.
I like these guys who are making this Conjuring universe. I think
I'm into it.
they're just good. They get it. They know what they're doing. It's obvious to me
Yeah.
that they know what they're doing.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
it's really easy.
Again, this is number 8.
to watch
so,
and enjoy
yeah, yeah.
any of their movies, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
any of those the Conjuring universe movies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really easy to watch any of them. Well, I say easy, even though they're scary. You know what I mean? Because it's just done well.
It's true.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
it's true. But you know, scary
And that
is good
reveal
to
of the
us.
nun, for me personally, the way they had
Yeah.
her reveal, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that was beautifully horrible. You know,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, for like a
It was
villain like
it was an
monster
epic
reveal,
moment. It
but,
was an epic
like,
moment.
Yeah, for me, they nailed it on that reveal when it was like the grand. I was like, oh,
So
dug it.
solid story, a good job of giving us a lot more background on Valak and their motivations and stuff like that. And
I like how they tie certain events to the first movie and give you a little flashback, and it's like, oh, you're like really tying like that to that.
It's
you know? I'm
clear.
like-
There's not
like,
there. You know, it's
thank you for not just mentioning it and be like, I hope you just watched the first one recently and you remembered that.
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
thanks for giving me like, and
Even-
it wasn't like a super long like indulgent flashback either. So
yeah.
it was nice. It was good.
Yeah. Even if it's been a while since you saw the first one, you can still jump into it.
Yeah.
I would say you do have to watch the first one to watch this one. This is not like a standalone film by any means.
No.
You gotta watch The Nun to enjoy The Nun 2 to the fullest, I believe.
Yep. I
Even
agree.
with the very well done flashbacks to the original story.
Also, in the first one, there was just some.
There was a lot of cool stuff in
There
the
was a
first
lot of cool
one.
stuff in
Yeah.
the first, especially because it was the first time we've ever seen this particular character. So, you know, definitely watch the first one if you haven't seen it.
So, that all being said,
Mm-hmm.
how many chainsaws would you rate
Rev
The Nun?
it up.
How many
Alright.
chainsaws?
I'm gonna
How
give
many?
this a solid 4 out of 5 chainsaws. Personally, like I know I looked on Rotten Tomatoes and they only gave it a 52%. I don't care. I personally am just a fan of the guys that are making like this whole Conjuring universe. I dig their style. I like their pacing. I like how they shoot it. I like the coloring. I like the monsters. I like the reveals.
Yeah, just even the color grading is really, really good.
I think
it's really good.
It's just another one in a pocket. It's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's on HBO Max. You know, rent it on something else if you can. I think it's worth a watch for sure. So what do you think? What are you gonna give this?
I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it a solid 4 also, because I think that what I really liked about it is that I think that when you have a sequel, that it's very important to make sure that it's cohesive and that it makes sense with the prior film. And I think that it did that. And I think it was the deaths were really good. There was some pretty nice, gruesome little deaths in there. And just the power of Valak was like on display. And I was like, oh man, like, you're like, I don't even know how y'all gonna handle this. This is messed up. This is messed up.
I thought the final battle was enjoyable. There was like lots of creep factor throughout. Overall, thumbs up,
Yeah. They definitely, it's like, there's always like that, that spooky, ghost story kind of, thing where, I saw something, nobody wants to believe me, blah, 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 you know what I mean? But it's like, it's cool because they do believe it. They know that this shit is real. So it's like, yes, you know what I mean? Like right off the bat, they're like, nah, we gotta stop this freaking thing, So, and as they follow the little breadcrumbs of bloody mess that the trail of terror that Valak leaves behind, and they unravel the mystery, I found it very enjoyable. So, I will give it a 4. That being said, like we mentioned in our last episode, we are adding some new components to the cutting room floor, and I think this is a perfect time for our inaugural announcement of this versus that. So, for this versus that, on this episode, I would like to propose Valak versus John Constantine.
Round 1.
If you guys don't know who John Constantine is, look him up on Wikipedia. He is he's awesome. He's a
also, there's a movie.
There's a world. There's tons of animated stuff. He's one of my favorite comic characters. There's tons of comics and there's films and all kinds of good stuff.
He's basically a human battling supernatural.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly. With magic, he's using magic versus magic.
Yeah, he's using everything.
He's kind of also the king of bad luck, and he's kind of a scumbag. So I thought it would be very interesting to have him up against a demon posing as a nun. So John Constantine versus Valak.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So we've seen what Valak can do, but I've also seen what John Constantine can do in many different films and animated cartoons.
Yes.
I think I'm going to have to give it to John Constantine. And I say that because this is kind of right up his alley. This is kind of what he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Valak
he is used to fighting, demons and other supernatural critters of all sorts.
Especially,
he's a supernatural detective of sorts. Yeah.
It's all. They were fighting the Catholic Church. Valak was fighting the Catholic Church in the Nun, right? And they eventually beat him because they're using their faith and religion. Constantine knows all this stuff is real, so there's no question about does he believe in any of this or not, and I'm pretty sure this is just like
I feel like the one thing is his level of scumbaggery is so high. He's close to being a demon himself. So if faith is the requirement to defeat Valak, then that's I don't know.
I'm not saying faith in a specific god from John Constantine because Constantine, right?
Yeah.
But he knows it's all real, and he will find your weakness. If it's some kind of
yeah.
holy relic or
He
holy
is good at
something,
that. He is good at that.
going to find whatever kind of holy relic weakness, so whatever salt line, whatever it
He's a
is,
resourceful
whatever
bastard,
it's gonna
basically.
be, he's gonna be like Sam and Dean in Supernatural. He's going to feel like
He's definitely more
I-
Dean than Sam, I would say.
yeah, I definitely believe Constantine will figure it out in time before Volok was able to kill him. So, my vote, John Constantine.
I would have to agree, unless it is required for you to be a good person to defeat Volok, in which case Constantine would be shit out of luck.
Not necessarily.
But I think that he's definitely got a much higher chance of defeating something like Volok, because again, like you said, that's right up Constantine's alley. He's really good at
to
handling
back
that kind
up
of
my
thing.
argument a little bit, the first nun, which you should have seen, and if you haven't, that's on you. The first nun, the character was beaten by, it wasn't Faith that beat that character.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was an item. It was
Yeah,
a
it was
very,
a- it was
very
a-
holy
yeah.
item.
Yeah.
But it was
Right.
an item. It didn't
That's a good
involve
point.
that person's faith at all. Therefore, if there is something, anything else that is possible to beat the nun, Constantine is going to find it, and it doesn't matter what his faith level is.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true.
Right?
And Constantine is quite the talented warlock himself, so
You're going to figure it out.
he's definitely good at figuring out things like that. So I would definitely give him a very high chance of success versus Volok. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments. Let us know.
That will wrap it up for us today. Don't forget that we are cut like this. Listen to us here on YouTube, Spotify, like and subscribe, and we are out.